Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Welcome into Sports Tonight. Emily Gagnon here with the great Allie Parker on a Thursday. What's today? You know I don't keep up with dates.
Thursday, September 19th.
Goodness gracious. All right. So we don't, I guess we haven't said this very often on the show lately, Ellie, but the Braves today. How about the Braves today?
How about the Braves? How about Chris Sale?
Okay,
Getting
he
it
is the
done
brightest spot on the roster.
Once again.
He's so good.
5 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts as the Braves thump the Reds 15-2. Where have these bats been?
I don't know,
Really?
but I'm trying to find out there's a stat out there that's really good, and you might have already seen it, and you might beat me to it out loud, but Lee showed it to me, one of our
And it was
sports
15-3, not
photog
15-2,
producer.
excuse me.
Okay, so per Elias Sports, the Braves became the first team in MLB history, so that's since 1900, literally 1900, to hit at least 4 3-run home runs in a single game.
That is impressive. I did not see that.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
You usually see the stats. But as Lee said, anything that hasn't been done since literally 1900, so like 125 years ago, basically, right?
That's impressive.
Should be mentioned.
That's impressive. That should be mentioned.
So, I mean, that's just not something that happens very often, right? So, like, I mean, it makes sense. I was like, they kept records back then? That was what I said to what Lee had to say.
You would be surprised if you do not know the website Retro Sheet. It is a database.
Like, how far back does it go?
Basically every box score in American League and National League history to the best of their ability going back to the 1800s.
No.
So this is not something that surprises me that they were able to find, frankly.
Well, it surprised me a lot. I was like, I haven't really seen a stat like that in a minute. When was the MLB, like, when did it start? Do you know?
Well,
you knew I wasn't going to let
it
let
depends
the show
because
be easy on you.
It depends because the Cincinnati Reds began playing in 1869. They are considered the first professional baseball team. The National League begins playing in 1876. The American League begins in 1901.
How do you know all this?
Hello, baseball fan.
Yeah, but like off the top of your head like that?
Yes. I'm a huge baseball nut. Baseball history nut in particular. So, like the 1870s is when the first major leagues like the American Association and the Federal League start to pop up.
Really?
So
that's outstanding.
It's been quite some time, although obviously a lot of people consider the modern era to at least begin at 1900. Some people
like
use
1900?
Yes, at
on
1900 on the dot. Some people use 1903 because that was the first World Series. Some people go as far as 1919, the end of the dead ball era. Some people go as far as integration in 1947. And then there are the weirdos who go for 1969, the year that the majors lowered the mount. So what is considered modern baseball is a bit of a complicated question, especially among baseball nerds.
I did not realize it, but that stat is pretty great.
It's
impressive
nonetheless.
You know, yesterday I messed up and you had to correct me because I said the Braves were a game and a half back from the Mets.
They are currently a game and a half back. The Mets
but
and Phillies,
they were really 2.
Yes, they were really 2. As of right now, as of recording, as of 6:34 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on September 19th, 2024, the Braves are a game and a half back of the New York Mets for that final wild card spot. The Mets and Phillies play at 7:15. If the Mets win, the Braves will go back to 2 games back.
Let me check this out right quick.
The Mets have won 3 in a row after losing 2
so
of
they're
3
starting
to
a
the Phillies.
4-game set against the Phillies.
Yes. Mets
So
have won
this
3
could
in
be
a row.
good. This be good for the Braves.
Yes. Because last weekend, the Mets lost 2 of 3 to the Phillies. Okay. But it remains to be seen. It's baseball.
It is baseball. Earlier, Blair asked me, did I think the Braves were going to make the playoffs? And I said, no, I didn't think so.
I don't think so either, frankly.
See, so that makes 2 of us. It's no hate towards the Braves.
None.
I don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening.
Because yeah. Just given, like...
Largely because I think the Mets are going to beat the Braves here in Atlanta.
You do think that? It's going to come down to that series,
week.
and you said it weeks ago. Yeah. So...
it's going to come right down to it.
So let's see. Who do the Braves have now? Like, they...
Braves, I believe they
Is it Miami?
Still have to finish the series against the Reds. Then they have the Marlins. And then I believe it is Braves and Mets and Royals to finish out the season with those final two series.
All right, so today was the finale against the Reds. So that's done. So tomorrow they start Marlins.
And then they
Three
play
game set. Mets,
the
3 game
Mets
set.
and
Royals, 3 game set.
3 game set. All of both the Mets and Royals series are at home here in Atlanta.
So that's 9 games left in the regular season, guys. 3 series left to make a difference for that final push, that playoff push that is dreaded by some teams.
Yep.
So here we go. Here we are. We're in a position, in the sense that the Braves are in a position. I shouldn't say were. The Braves are in a position that they have not been in a while. Let's be honest about that. Because they've won the division, what was it, 7 or was it 6
7
years in a
or
row?
6 or 7 years in a row. So this has been
So they're breaking
the first
it.
time that they're
since
in the
they've been at
trenches
Truist
this
Park.
late.
Yeah, I mean, they've never not won the division since they've been at Truist Park. So now it's happened. But the injuries are nothing you can control. So the Braves won today. They're off for the rest of the night, but they are in Miami starting tomorrow. The dream.
I called it. The game on Tuesday against the Chicago Sky
You did.
was the pivot point. Atlanta beat a depleted Chicago Sky team without Camille Cardoso or Angel Reese. That puts them in the pole position for the number 8 seed in the
So they control their own
WNBA.
destiny, in
Yes.
other words.
Tonight, all 3 of those teams play.
Yeah.
For the Dream, it is win and in. They beat the New York Liberty. They beat the number 1 seed in the playoffs. They're in. They're the 8th seed, and they look forward to playing the New York Liberty again in the playoffs. Now, the Dream can still make it if they lose. If all 3 teams lose between the Dream, Sky, and Mystics, the Dream are in.
There's 5 scenarios, right?
5 scenarios. Actually, 6.
There's 6?
6 scenarios
Oh, gosh, I thought there
between
were
these
only
3
5.
teams.
All right. Give it to me.
For the Dream, win and in. If all 3 of the Dream, Sky, and Mystics lose, the Dream are the 8th seed because they're 1 game up on both the Sky and the Mystics. If the Dream lose, the Sky win, the Mystics lose, and the Phoenix Mercury beat the Seattle Storm tonight, the Dream are the 8th seed.
I mean, this is a lot to remember.
If the Dream lose, the Sky lose, and the Mystics win, the Mystics are the 8th seed because of tiebreakers. If the Dream lose, the Sky win, the Mystics lose, and the Mercury lose, the Sky are the 8th seed. That's the only chance Chicago has to be the 8th seed in the WNBA playoffs.
But there are more scenarios working out in Atlanta's favor than not,
certainly.
right? Out of the 6 you just named, there's 3 for Atlanta or 4?
3 for Atlanta.
So if you're Atlanta, I don't know if you're feeling confident.
It's win and in. You have to win this game.
But you're certainly feeling like you're the driver.
Now, we've been talking all week about the Liberty potentially resting their starters because they locked up the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Head coach Sandy Barbello said, nah, the starters want to play. So this could be a very tough game in New York for the Dream. You have the Dream playing the Liberty, Chicago playing the Connecticut Sun in Connecticut, and the Mystics hosting the Indiana Fever, all at 7 p.m. So they tip off in about 20 minutes.
As soon as we're off.
As soon as we're off, basically, and you'll be able to see the Dream game right here on Peachtree TV. The Seattle Storm and Phoenix Mercury play in Seattle at 10 p.m., so basically right as those first 3 games are wrapping up. So we could know if the Dream have won by 10 p.m., that Phoenix-Seattle game might not matter. But if one of those scenarios that needs to involve the Mercury is playing out, that's going to be a game that Dream fans are going to have to pay attention to.
Do we like their chances?
I like the Dream's chances simply because I don't think any of the Dream, Sky, or Mystics are winning tonight, and that puts the Dream in the playoffs.
So you don't like it in the sense that they might lose tonight, but given all the other scenarios, they could get in.
The Liberty are the number one.
Especially if the Liberty are playing all their peeps.
Liberty are the number 1 seed. Fever are the number 5 seed, and Connecticut is the number 2 seed. So they're all playing playoff teams to fight for that final playoff spot to go on to play the Liberty in the first round.
Okay.
So I think all 3 teams are going to lose, and we're going to see Atlanta in the first round of the WNBA playoffs. I could be wrong.
No,
I'm excited to watch
I think
these
if they
games.
actually make the playoffs, if the Dream make the playoffs, they're not getting past the first round.
Oh no!
So they'll end up
the Liberty,
in the very
they've played.
same
This will be
position
the
they were
4th
last
game
year.
between the Liberty and the Dream, and the Liberty have won the previous 3 games quite handily.
I was waiting for you. I'm like, oh, you're going to say they won all 3.
Yeah, I don't think
They're going for the sweep tonight.
the Dream are going to make it past the first round if they make it in, because the Liberty are going for the sweep tonight, and I don't think that is going to change in the playoffs.
That's tough. That's really, really tough. So let me ask you, and I like to do this. So Tanisha Wright, if they make it to the playoffs, get eliminated first round, she's still safe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
Why
so
is
too.
this a question?
Oh, well, because it's like you have to improve from the prior season.
Yeah, this is an improvement.
No, it's not. They made it to the first round and lost in the first round.
They made it to the first round, but this is what, Wright's 3rd season as head coach?
It's her 3rd full season.
I don't get the idea.
I like her. I have no issue
I
with
don't
her.
get the idea that she's on the hot seat at all.
It's just being in the exact same position as you were the year before, eventually. So
But
you're
don't-
saying next year if they're in the same position, then we have conversations to have?
Then maybe. What expectations did the Dream have before the season? This is not a team that was gunning for the 1 seed and realistically gunning for the 1 seed, and they fall into the 8th seed. The 8th seed's frankly a miracle.
Their goal was to make the playoffs and win the first round because they weren't able to do that last year. So
They still have a chance to win the first round.
They do. Now you were right about that. They still have a chance. It's still ahead of them if they move on tonight.
Even if they get smacked around by the Liberty, I don't think Tanisha Wright's job is in danger at all.
It's like, let me just give you an example, like the Falcons, right, with Arthur Smith. He had the same season 3 years in a row, basically, and he was fired. You
The
know what I'm
NFL
saying?
is not the WNBA.
Yeah, but they
why are you comparing
because they
these
want
two
it.
leagues?
They want it to be with. I mean, they sell out of season tickets. They sell out that arena all the time.
Yes.
And they want to be like the premier, just like any
Yeah.
other team. They want to be the premier team in the league. Atlanta does. So I feel like expectations
I don't
are
think it's
high.
purely a coaching problem, though. I don't think it's a coaching problem at all.
no, I like Tanisha. I'm not. This is not me saying I think she should
don't.
go.
I don't.
It's just
I don't know
putting
why
it
this
out
is a
there.
conversation. I
Really?
really don't.
Okay. But next year, if we're in the
And
same,
frankly, I find the comparison between Tanisha Wright and Arthur Smith disingenuous at best and frankly stupid at worst.
really,
Yes,
but the WNBA has grown so much.
It's not the NFL.
Well, of course not.
You
but
don't
what I'm
have
saying,
millions of fans breathing down your
as a
throat if
coach,
you lose
though,
a game.
As a coach, you're based off of improvement every year.
Yes.
So
But
if
you
you-
also have to believe that this coach can get you to the promised land. And I think the Dream believe that Tanisha Wright is
Yeah,
capable
no, listen,
of
like I said, I
bringing
like
the
her.
Dream
She's awesome. I have
to the
no
promised
issues
land
with
with this roster, with this core. So I
So you don't like my question?
no, no, I don't know why this is a conversation at all.
I feel like I've had it with. Well, I think I've probably had it with Scott on this platform. You're like, no, I'm not Scott.
I ain't Scott.
Okay.
Call me an optimist, but no.
All right, let's move on. We were talking about Arthur Smith, who's no longer with the Falcons, but let's talk about them Falcons. Yes.
I mean,
We've got the Chiefs, Sunday Night Football, 1-1.
at least
coming
there's
off
going
a
to be free
huge win.
concessions.
It's what?
At least there's going to be free concessions. There's free food.
Yeah. Hot dogs.
The Falcons fans have that going for them.
Could you imagine? What if they like run out of hot dogs? Do you think that's possible?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So many
matter
people-
is not infinite.
So many people eat
They
the
cannot
hot dogs.
just create hot dogs out of
Could you
pure
imagine if like
nothingness.
third quarter comes and they're like, there's like signs like no more hot dogs?
Yes, yes, I could. Have you heard about like Wisconsin fans drinking Salt Lake City dry? Yes, I can imagine.
That is awesome. So,
I can
so we
imagine
might run out of hot dogs
a
at the
stadium
Benz
running
on
out of
Sunday night.
concessions.
What
This happens
else-
in college football all the time. They
What
run
else?
out of
But
beer.
but like college, like you don't like comparisons today, so we can't be doing all that.
No. I am comparing. I'm comparing. You compare between two completely different sports, between two completely different leagues, at two completely different exposure levels and all of that. College football and NFL, they're broadly. I'm comparing stadium concessions. Come on now.
What else is free?
Don't do this to me.
There's not
Don't
just
do
hot
this to
dogs
me.
free. There's other things.
Yes. I believe it's hot dogs and chips
Is it chips?
off the top of my
I was
head.
like, I know it's not. I know it's not beer.
No. They would never do that.
Could you imagine free beer?
10-cent beer night, part 2? No.
That would be
No.
something. People wouldn't even be able to drive home.
No.
That
Take
would
more.
be.
Take more anyway, even if you're not drinking.
Listen, the fans will be happy. They'll be eating their free hot dogs, watching the Falcons play arguably the best team.
2 free hot dogs and 2 bags of chips through the end of the third quarter.
But how do you know? Like if I go to one like thing and then I get 2 hot dogs there and then go to the how do they keep count? They can't. Or do they give me 2 tickets when I walk in the door and they're like, use your tickets? And if you
I don't
use
know.
them-
And if you can get more than 2 hot dogs, more power to you, man. It's free food.
Or they might run out of ketchup.
Who's going to turn down a free hot dog?
I
Not
haven't
me.
I haven't had a hot dog
Not
in
me.
seconds, but I would eat
I
it.
actually really like the hot dogs at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Really?
Yeah. They're not like amazing, but they're serviceable. They're really good. I've had worse hot dogs.
My mom always says like food tastes better when you're on the beach or like when you're at an event. So like I can get what you're saying. It's like a hot dog at the Benz tastes better than like a hot dog you'd have at your house.
Well, I am terrible at cooking anyway. So
Well,
it's
listen,
like,
you
yes.
can't, you can't, when you say you're terrible at cooking a hot dog can't be that hard. Would you put it in boiling hot water? Is that how you
mean-
do it, Elmac? Yeah. Elmac makes pickles.
Oh God.
He does. He makes
Pickles,
his
I-
own pickles, and they're good. How do you make them, Elmac? How do you make your pickles? Come tell the people. Come on.
Pickle time is just a little vinegar and all your spices and seasoning, and you put in a couple of cucumbers. Let it sit, and it'll be great.
But you make spicy ones.
Right. You put
So-
the spicy, what is it? Zatcharies?
I don't know the name of it.
Dump it in there, a little pepper. It's fantastic. You should try it.
He's charging. Okay, later he's charging for his his recipe. Thanks, Elmac. When he first started making pickles, I can't even lie about this, he would bring them to me to test out. So I would try them out, Ellie, in the mornings, and he would bring them in when we would go somewhere
I hate
together.
pickles.
Oh, they were good. His
I hate
pickles are
pickles in
good.
general.
We just needed to. We
I
had to
can't
test.
do it.
He had to. That recipe had to be like played with a little bit until the actual.
I can't do pickles. I know the idea
Measurement.
of a trans woman not being able to eat pickles is weird,
So good.
but
No, so good. But
can't do it.
too salty at first, so we had
do
I had to play with it. But yeah, so the Falcons have to stop Patrick Mahomes on Sunday Night Football to be able to even think about beating them, because even if they stop him, they might not be able to stop some of his weapons. So
although the Chiefs are without Isaiah Pacheco for the time being.
oh, so you're like, are you saying the Falcons are going 2-1?
I mean,
Oh gosh, look at you! Look
I
at you!
have more faith in the Falcons than I did before the Pacheco injury, because that does take away a weapon from the Chiefs, and Pacheco was doing very well for them in this short season. But I mean, do I think the Falcons are going to win? No.
You're surprising me today. All the surprises.
I contain multitudes.
This mind is blowing right now. I don't know who's gonna win Sunday. I have no clue. But if somebody had a gun to my head, I'd be like Chiefs. I would like my chances of survival that way more so than picking the Falcons. So I just don't like the odds there. The Hawks.
Okay,
We're
so
almost we're almost basketball season.
this is kind of an odd one, because if you don't know, the NBA Cup, the mid-season tournament, is just now a thing.
It's
And
what?
is just now a thing, It started last year. And if you were watching the show last year,
A lot
you
of
watched
people got
me in
confused
particular,
about it, though.
I hated the courts. Hated, 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 hated.
What did you not
courts.
like about the courts?
They were so just garish and busy.
Wait, did you
and
say garish?
Yes.
What is that? I don't even know what that means.
They looked terrible.
Okay, you didn't like it.
No.
There were different colors, right? Like
They were like different colors, and it just didn't, to me, visually, they were
on
way too
TV,
busy.
but maybe in person they might have looked good. You think?
Maybe.
But on TV did not.
I
Look good.
mean, even in screenshots. Now, 4 of the new courts for the NBA Cup this season, including the Atlanta Hawks court, have reportedly leaked because of NBA 2K.
Oh my god! Of course.
Screenshots from the video game have leaked showing the Hawks potential court. It is much, much cleaner. You have the Hawks logo in the center, surrounded by the NBA Cup trophy, and you have illustrations of the trophy in both keys with the free throw sort of circle, sort of forming a like basketball.
Basically, where the basket's at.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks a lot better because it's a
I mean, you see the
normal
court.
color.
Yeah, you see the court, the hardwood.
The hardwood.
It looks.
It's not. They're not like going too much. They're not trying to make it like red or gray or whatever. Mm-hmm. You don't have to overthink a basketball court to make it look nice. You really don't.
Okay, so you like this? It's
Yes,
LA approved.
I like this simpler design that has leaked via a video game.
And did you like the tournament? Or you're indifferent? Like whatever. I'm indifferent about it, but I still don't understand
indifferent at best.
But do you think it
I don't-
encouraged
I-
the players to play a little tougher or whatever the case may be? I don't know. Because this is like the NBA's way to try to get people's interest like back into gear.
The only scenario where I can see a player really, really going hard is if their salary is not that high and that check for winning or doing well in this tournament is going to give them a sizable raise. I think about, Pete Alonso playing in the home run derby every year because he's on like a $400,000 contract and you get $1 million for winning it. So he took it seriously because it like doubled his money.
Look at you.
That, to me, is like the scenario where I can see players caring about this because there is a monetary incentive. Do I believe that LeBron James actually cares? No. The man's got the money. It's mid-season for him.
Okay, I respect that. I respect your decision.
So I mean, I really don't care about it as a fan because it
A
doesn't
game's
matter.
a game. Thank
It's
God it's during the
mid-season.
regular
I
season.
care
so it's
about
just
the
like any other game,
playoffs.
but it also has some weight to it.
If I'm going to care about a tournament, I'm going to care about the playoff tournament where my team can win a championship,
Yeah.
Like the NBA Cup doesn't matter.
I love how they call it the NBA Cup. Well, it's like, the MLS. They have like tournaments within.
That's different. That's
Oh,
different.
uh-oh.
That's different.
Here we go.
Do not get me started on how MLS is kneecapping the U.S. Open Cup, which has existed long before MLS. It will exist after MLS.
Okay.
Do not get me started.
I won't. I won't do it. You've been animated in this show, so we're gonna leave it alone. But if you wanna talk about it, I'm here for you.
So if you don't know, the U.S. Open Cup, actually, that's going to be like part 1 of what's on my mind, because I do have something else.
Okay.
The U.S. Open Cup is the national tournament for soccer in the United States. It's not just MLS teams playing in this tournament. You have teams from USL and semi-pro teams playing in this tournament for the chance to win a championship, a legitimate championship that is treated by a lot of fans as important, if not more important, than the MLS Cup. Because you can get a group of guys that just gets together on Sundays going through the tournament and killing some giants, as the term is. So it's just a very fun tournament, and it does not compare, it compares positively at least, to the Leagues Cup, which is just a bunch of MLS teams playing Mexican teams, which, while that is fun, a mechanism for that already exists in the CONCACAF Champions League. We don't need another one besides money. You're just getting rid of the longest soccer tournament in the country, the one thing that has existed since 1912. Soccer in this country has really only been a thing since 1996 when the MLS kicked off. Before that, there was the NASL, but there's not been a long-standing entity for soccer in this country besides the U.S. Open Cup. And Don Garber wants to kneecap it. Okay, rant over.
For me, I'm indifferent about all that. What else is on your mind? 'Cause you said that was 1A. What's 1B?
1B. So Ken Rosenthal, and another reporter at The Athletic, put out an article today about the dysfunction of a certain baseball team on the south side of Chicago. And the thing that really got my blood boiling was Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the team, and...
We're not going to say what the team... Who the...
Makes me angry.
Okay.
Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner, let go Jason Benetti, the announcer, the play-by-play guy, who was a lifelong fan of this team, grew up in the Chicago suburbs, in the southern Chicago suburbs. Lifelong fan of the team. This has been his dream for years. And he lets him go because he didn't like his style? Because Jason Benetti is willing to talk analytics during games? And is willing to tell it like it is and say, this team is bad? And now he's over in Detroit, hopefully with an organization that actually respects him? That was really my final straw with that team.
Oh, that's why we're not saying their name. Because the love is gone. The love is lost.
Gone. It just... Because how do you let a lifelong fan, where that's the dream, that's his dream, how do you let that man go? He's one of the best broadcasters in the business. Lock him up. Pay him more than you pay some of your players. I don't care.
Nothing's permanent, Ellie. Nothing in this life is permanent. No matter what. No matter how badly you want it, nothing's permanent.
If the Dodgers could lock down a Giants fan as their announcer for 70 years, that team could lock down a lifelong fan for the rest of his life, if they wanted. And Jerry Reinsdorf didn't.
Well, in his mind, I told
Angry.
No love lost there. I told you. Not for him. I'm sorry.
Angry.
Sorry you're angry. Did you know that there's 5 love languages? I learned that today. Did you know that? I actually had to look it up. I had no idea. And why are there so little?
Yes, hi.
Why are
I
there
have a
so
therapist,
little
thank
love
you.
languages? Like, shouldn't there be, like, literally infinity
Who knows?
love languages?
Who knows?
We all love...
It's easier to understand if there's 5.
That's why I do
Is the short
sports,
version.
because understanding love in its languages is a tough one for me. But I'm going to do my research, okay? I'm going to do my research, and I'm sorry that your love was lost today for your team. That's
What
no
used to
longer
be my
your
team.
team. Okay? It's all relative, guys. It all comes together. Sports and love. And maybe hate, too. I love it. Fine line between love and hate. But love languages do exist out there. I think we're going to go now because Ellie's about to...
We're on out of time.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys.